Hey guys, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how to make deep minimal house in the style of Max Chapman and George Smeddles. You guys have been requesting this one for a while, and yeah, as usual, you can get the full project files, samples, MIDI, presets, everything like that from this video is available right at the top of the description, and if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there, because it's already available, and let's dive in. Alright, so up here we start off with the kick and bass. The kick sounds like this. And yeah, you can see the kick is actually dry. You know, it's really more about the type of kick that you're using here, and then just kind of leveling it out here. And I was trying to see if I could get this without any saturation or drum bus. And you can see, like, you know, as long as you're able to mix the kick where it's at the top of the mix, and it's the loudest thing that's still just like, you know, pumping through the mix like that, you know, it's still gonna work. So we have that. You can hear it's just like a fat 909 style kick. I have it cutting out here. Then we have the bass line. So you can hear the bass line, you know, it's pretty simple. It's just 3 notes here. But then you can see it's very, I don't want to say it's aggressive, but it's pretty busy. You know, there's a lot of that like, like between the kick and the bass, there's a lot happening there. Again, it's very simple. It's a lot of the same notes, but it's like just so much groove being created by how busy the bass line is, even if it's only a few notes. So that's really the secret with this style, is you just choose a few notes, but then make a very busy bass line with those, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 notes. For the sound, this is made with Operator. Now, it's not doing any FM, you can see. I just have a saw wave, a sine wave, and then a square wave here. And then what's happening is we actually have the sine wave an octave below everything, so it's kind of like a sub-oscillator. You can see the saw wave is an octave up. And then I have this low-pass filter there, which just has a little bit of an envelope, just to make the bass a little bit more plucky. It's not even something you would necessarily notice, but it just kind of, yeah, gives that little extra bit of punch to the bass line. And then after that, we just have some standard bass processing. We've got a bit of drum bus, because with the synth, you do want to do some stuff to fatten it up. And then we just have a compressor, which is actually not doing any sidechain there. I think I turned that off. And then we just have an EQ8 here, which is just cutting out a bit of room for the kick. And yeah, then we have on the groove of kick and bass, just a tiny bit of saturation. So here's without it, and with it. Now this is really not doing too much, because the sounds on their own are already really solid, but it's just giving that little tiny bit of glue to the kick and bass, and you could hear it. Like if I turn this off, and then back on again, it's really subtle, but you just kind of feel the overall low end coming together a lot stronger with that. And yeah, then we have the main hi-hat, which this is 2 layers, so it's this open hi-hat, and then this one, this hi-hat 1 here. You can hear, this really adds that punch to it. And you'll notice, like, you mostly are hearing the open hi-hat. Hi-hat 1 is really just, like, in there for the punch. But if I turn it off, the whole groove gets thrown off. Like, you need that on top of it there to make this work in the track. And yeah, then we just have like some more percussion, like these 2 sounds. It's like this little rattle here. And then I just have this one going tick, tick, tick. You can see I'm using the swing here. It's one of the Logic 16 swings, which works really well because you can hear everything can have a really tight and unified groove this way. Like, everything has the exact same amount of swing, so it's really tight and clean, versus, like, moving it by hand. Like, if I just go in and try to do, like, something like that, you know, it's not going to be as on point with everything else. So yeah, then we have the clap. So it's like a nice punchy clap. This is more of like a Lindrum or like an Oberheim DMX style clap. You know, a lot more like a hand clap than say like a more mid-rangey 909. We just have a really short reverb on this, just a tiny bit, just to give it a little bit more space, but not too much. And then we just have some drum bass on that. Then we have all these little percussions, which I had these all in a group together. You can see they're just going through a bit of drum bass, but mostly I have them in the group so you can just hear what this sounds like on its own, because when you hear this in a track, it can be easy to kind of lose track of how much stuff you're hearing. So I want you to see, like, this is how much stuff is going to go into it when you make a track like this, you know, because if we don't have this stuff, all just like these main elements are good, but like all that groove is happening because we have all these little sounds, you know, just coming in and out of the track. And all these are really doing is, if you notice, it's just kind of filling up the 16th notes. Like, basically, we just put a different hit on almost every single 16th note throughout here, and that's what creates the groove, you know? And, like, there's certain parts where you don't have it. Like, here, there's nothing for this whole little bit. There's nothing for this little bit. But for the most part, it's just kind of, like, constantly filling in the 16th notes and then taking a few out. And then it's also like the groove that's being created by which particular sounds are in which place. Because certain sounds are a little bit quieter, certain sounds are a little bit more punchy. So it's kind of the way that you want to approach that. And then again, they're just all in that group with a bit of drum bass on them to kind of make it all fit into one spot. Like, you want, when these are all together, you want this to just kind of be all like one layer, essentially. And yeah, then we have this first chord, which sounds like this. So this is a sampled chord stab. The sampled chords are going to be really good for this style because the thing is like, there's a certain texture that you get that you don't get when you're just working with like a synth. Like if we just take like operator and try to make a chord stab using sine waves or whatever, like, you know, you can create some cool stuff that way for sure, but you don't quite get that same level of texture that gets added into the sound when you have these, because, you know, where you're sampling it from has texture, and where that came from had texture, and like, you know, that all just comes together. I have a second sampled one here too as well. Yeah, you just get like a very particular vibe from these sampled chord stabs. And then that's just going through a bit of chorus and a bit of drum bass. And yeah, this one's pretty simple, but you notice it's grooving off of the other one. Like, we kind of have it go. And another thing also, while we're talking about how this fits with the other elements, you'll notice that a lot of the spaces where you have this playing, there's no 16th note percussion right before it. Like I was saying, like, there's little spots where it's open. So this is an example of like how you can make the different elements come together and work together, because, you know, by having that little pause there, then it's more impactful when you hear the there from the chord stab. I'll show you what I mean. So like, you know, it's all coming together. All these little small things that we're doing with 8th notes and 16th notes in the groove are going to come together to make the overall groove. And then the last sound that we have down here is the second chord stab, which sounds like this. So this one, same technique where we're taking a sample and bringing it into a simpler here. But this one, you'll notice we have a low pass filter, and we're actually using an envelope on the low pass. So this is a really cool way to take like a sampled stab and make it more your own. Because like if we turn this off, you'll notice, you know, it's a vastly different sound. So this is a really cool way to, again, just kind of take it and be able to shape it into your own chord stab and really make your own thing, but still get all that texture that you would get from the sampled sound. And then, yeah, you can see, I've just got that pitch down a bit as well to get it in key. And then all we have on there for effects are just the short echo. You can see it's just at 118 milliseconds, really fast. It's on the ping pong setting, so it's super wide. Just adds a lot of vibe to the sound. And then we just have the drum bus to fatten it up a bit. And yeah, so that is going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, everything like that from this video. So if you just want like the bass line and the kick, or just the drum samples, whatever it is, you can work with that. Or you just get this great thing to follow along and learn from and build your own tracks from. Link to that is at the top of the description. It really helps support me so I can keep bringing you guys new videos every day. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.